Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Over Easy, my podcast. My name is Manny. In case you are new here, or welcome back. If you are watching the video segment, you can obviously tell we're in a little bit of a different background, and it is looking a bit sparse. You can probably tell from the title, I moved out finally, and we're going to be talking about that today. I know last week I said we would be talking about my Sunday routine this week, or I missed a week too, so it was supposed to be last week. But things change, and the unexpected came up, and I ended up moving out, so we're going to talk about that today. And then next week we'll talk about my Sunday routine, I promise. I am really excited for that episode as well. But let's get started with a Rosebud and Thorn first, and then we're going to talk about my moving out process and everything that's happened in the last week that you guys don't know about. It's been a while. So first of all, my rose is that yesterday was the Lauv concert. So if you don't know, I absolutely love Lauv. Lauv was my top Spotify artist on my Spotify Wrapped for 3 years, 2018. 4 years maybe. No, 3 years. 2018, 2019, 2020. And then only got surpassed by Olivia Rodrigo in 2021. But honestly, I love Lauv more than Olivia Rodrigo. He is probably my favorite artist of all time. And so I went to his concert last night. It was in Vancouver. I can't talk. It's been a while since I podcasted, if you can tell. I was supposed to go in August of 2020. I bought tickets, but obviously we all know how 2020 came about and the concert got canceled. And then he came back this year, and so I ended up going, and it was honestly so much fun. I haven't gone to a concert since I was in grade 10 in high school, which is like 6 years ago at this point. Last concert I went to was Headley, which was also a concert that I really, really loved. But I was so nervous and excited and everything like that. But honestly, it ended up turning out way better than I imagined. It was so much fun. He played all of my favorite songs, and it was just a great night. I also bought a hoodie, if you can tell. I didn't want to wear white because my wall is white, but I just had to because I love this hoodie. If you can see on the back, it's like very artisty and cute, so had to wear that today, of course. Anyways, that is my rose. I had so much fun, and my boyfriend came with me, and we had such good seats too. That was one thing that was really, really nice. I didn't want to get general admission because I didn't want to stand up the whole time. So I ended up getting seats, and I had the Spotify pre-sale because I listened to Lauv so much. I'm like in the top whatever percentage. So Spotify let me buy tickets early compared to regular sale. So I ended up buying seats that were on the side, and we were the very first row. So first of all, we got seats so we could sit down, which was really nice. And then also we were sitting at the very front of our section, so nobody was obstructing our view, and we were like decently close. So what a win-win. It was not that expensive. I can't remember. I bought these tickets so long ago, but I do believe they were only like 100 something for the 2 tickets together. So that's like a really good deal. So yesterday was my first concert in a very long time, and I had so much fun. So that is my rose of the day. My bud. Let me think about it. What am I looking forward to? I did have one before I started filming, but then I totally forgot. I think my bud right now is looking forward to my apartment coming together, which I will talk about in a little bit. It's been a week since I've moved out, and it's a lot better than the first weekend that I moved out, but there's a long way to go still. So I'm looking forward because I just placed an Amazon order yesterday for some furniture and some extra things that I need. So once I have everything come together, then I'm excited to actually see my apartment come together in its final form, you know? And then my thorn is that, what is my thorn? My thorn is that last night I slept really late because of the concert, and it's been a really long time since I slept at midnight. I honestly actually can't even think. I guess it would be the time that I went to the club a couple of weeks ago. So it's been a very long time since I've slept super late, and it really jostled my sleeping schedule, but it's fine. I woke up nice and late this morning. I slept in until 8 a.m., which is pretty late for me. And now I'm feeling well rested. Okay, so let's get into today's episode, which is all about the fact that I moved out. I know you can't see much of my apartment, and I want to film more or like show you guys more online. I'm just waiting for a little bit because I want all the listings and everything to be taken down, or like just to be old enough so that people don't really recognize it, and so that there's a little bit more of a safety aspect, if you know what I mean. So I'm trying not to show too much of it right now, but in a little bit I think I will be more comfortable with sharing it. But anyways, let's talk about my entire moving process. So I have been wanting to move out since the top of 2022. I literally remember on January 1st of 2022 making a slideshow to my mom and wanting to move out. And that was because I had been living at home in second year of university before COVID hit, and then COVID hit and I had to do online school from home and then just be at home all the time because of COVID. And it was a lot for my mental health, especially with living with so many family members. And I'm sure people who are immigrants or have immigrant families will be able to relate, but there's just a lack of privacy and boundaries when it comes to family, at least in my case at least. And it was just a lot to have to deal with, especially when I wasn't doing that well already with COVID and online school in general, and not being able to see my friends and not being able to go out and like do things that I want. So I wasn't doing very well. So 2022, I started to think about wanting to move out, especially because I hadn't moved out, or I did move out for first year, but afterwards I didn't really move out. And I was like, I'm not going to be living in this family house like forever, right? So I kind of started trickling in my mind, but I never really did anything about that idea because I was still in school and I didn't have enough of an income to rent a place. And obviously if I were to move out, my mom would not be supporting me financially as much as she did before. And so I couldn't really do much about it because I didn't have a job or a full-time job, and I also didn't really want to look because, as you know, my plan after graduating was to travel, which I did. So after traveling, I came back from Austin and I was kind of in a lull with what I wanted to do. Honestly, traveling to Austin really drained my bank account a lot, which I'm totally fine with because that was what I was expecting. But my plan was that I wanted to go to Japan for September until the end of the year this year. And I still could have gone, but I was thinking about it and I was like, if I'm going to travel to Japan, especially because Japan is such a fun place that I've always wanted to go to, I really want to make it the best experience possible. And I know that with the current state of my finances and like how much money I have left from traveling to Washington and Austin, like I wouldn't be able to make Japan the most fun trip that I could because I'd constantly be worrying about rationing my finances and stuff like that. So I ended up thinking like maybe this isn't the time. And my mom actually told me that like, oh, she needs a little bit of help in her office because she can't hire anyone. So she offered to me, maybe you should work in the mornings before your math tutoring job. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what, like that's actually not a bad idea. It's definitely a really big hustle moment, but honestly, I felt some sort of debt or repayment to my mom, obviously, because she's raised me since I was little, and knowing that I could help her ease her stress in some way at work would obviously be something that I want to do. And then I started working full time. I talked about this in a few podcasts ago, just talking about my corporate life and stuff like that. And honestly, I've been quite enjoying it. It's definitely a very tiring lifestyle. I work 8:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday. So it's not a normal 9 to 5, but honestly, it's like actually not as bad as I thought it would be. But a few days or like leading up to the job, I like, it finally clicked in my head. I was like, wait a second, I'm going to be making like a full-time income, because obviously I'm going to be working full-time and making enough money. And so I did a little bit of calculation and stuff like that. And I was like, wait, like I'm literally going to be making enough money to sustain myself. And the thing is also the fact that I was working with my mom, that I didn't really want to be with her 24/7, because I would be seeing her at work and then seeing her at home. She's not my direct supervisor, like I don't work directly under her, but I would still be seeing her because obviously we're in the same workplace all the time. So I was kind of thinking, like, I think it's like literally I can start to look to move out. Like, this is finally the time. And so I started. I can't remember how long I looked. I think I started in August. I guess I would have started like mid-August, starting looking to move out. But at the time in mid-August, it was a crazy market. I think it was because also all the students were looking for housing. So there was a lot of demand. And so the prices were extremely high. So I ended up touring one unit in August. It was, honestly, I thought the unit of my dreams. I was really sad that I could not apply to it because just financially, it would not have been possible. It was a studio and it was 400 square feet, which is absolutely tiny. Really, really small. Like my apartment right now is like pretty small, but the apartment that I toured, the first one, was tiny. But it was a studio apartment, a micro studio, 400 square feet in one of the newest buildings in my city. It had just finished construction like maybe last year, so all of the amenities were new, and you know, it was just like a new unit. Obviously, it's really, really nice. And I went to tour it one night with my boyfriend. I made a TikTok about it. I want to make like a moving YouTube video, so I'm going to put that in that YouTube video as well. So you'll see more videos of it if you watch my YouTube videos if you want, but I'll tell you about it now. So we toured it on a Friday night, I believe, and it was sometime in August, and we toured it. It was $2,000, not including utilities and stuff like that. So base price $2,000 was it was quite steep for me. Because like realistically I could have afforded it, but it definitely would not have been as enjoyable as the unit that I have now. So it was $2,000 and utilities were not included. I just remember like the main thing that I loved about that apartment was that the amenities were so nice. Like I said, it was a brand new building. So obviously barely anyone's lived in it yet, and all the gyms, there was like a dance studio, there was like an outdoor patio for everyone to use, and like a community garden in the apartment. It was brand spanking new and it was beautiful. And I think I was more carried away with like that being my first tour and also that being such a new building, which is why I liked it so much, because looking back on it, I definitely would not have liked living there. There were problems with it, like it was so absolutely small, and it was facing north. And the problem is it was facing north towards another building. So I wouldn't have any direct sunlight, which now that I live in this unit, I know that I would have been absolutely miserable because I love the direct sunlight that I get in my apartment. So I toured that place, and then ultimately I told the landlords like, oh, if you're ever able to, wrap the utilities and everything in the 2,000, like please consider me. But I knew that was a big ask because demand was so high at the time. So I kept looking on and off. I was looking mostly on Craigslist because that's kind of where most of the units are, I believe. Oh, and I ended up looking at Facebook Marketplace a little later on because Facebook Marketplace also has a lot of units as well. But I kind of stopped looking. It was like end of August, and then I was still looking around. I would message people and email people, but they would either not get back to me or it just like wasn't a nice fit. And then the day before Labor Day, I was at home. It was a Sunday, and Sundays I have a lot of free time, so I think I probably was a little bit fed up that day. So I was kind of like, I need to take another look at moving out. At this point, the market had dropped a lot because Again, all their students have found their housing, so demand was not as high, and so prices had dropped quite a fair bit. And I actually saw a couple units on that Sunday when I was looking online, one of them being this unit I'm living in. So I saw this unit online and I was like, okay, from the pictures, it didn't really look that good. Like, I was like, I don't know if I will really like this place, but I want to take a look. It's really cheap. That's why it's $1,700 with everything included, which is quite a bit cheaper than looking at $2,000 or $2,100 with nothing included at the time. So I wanted to take a look, and at first I messaged the landlord and I was like, I'm really interested in looking at this apartment, introduce myself, stuff like that. And then I was like, do you have any availability tomorrow on Labor Day? Because again, I was working so crazy at the time, and his like, my schedule doesn't really work out on the weekdays, and the housing market moves really fast, which is something that I learned. Like, if you can't see an apartment the next day or the same day, like, you can consider it gone. So the landlord messaged me back and he was like, I'm sorry, like, you can only see it on the Tuesday at like noon or something. And I was like, crap, like, Tuesday at noon, obviously I'm working and I can't do that. So I was like, I'm going to consider this unit gone, even though it looks pretty nice. Then, by some miracle, the landlord messages me back. After I had given up, he messaged and said, oh, I'm only doing a viewing on Tuesday at noon. And I was like, okay. I didn't even respond because I was like kind of sad at that point. I was like, crap, like, another unit gone. But he messaged me back a little bit later that day, and I was like, what time would you be able to do on Labor Day? Can you do 2:30 or whatever? And I was like, I can do literally any time. Just please let me see this unit. And so we set for 2:30. And so the next day I came and we toured this apartment. And to my surprise, when I came in, we came pretty early. My boyfriend and I toured together. He came with me all the time, even though I'm living by myself. I just wanted him to come with me because I was kind of scared to go by myself. And also, he's a little bit more experienced in the renting world. He's been living out a little bit longer than I have, or quite a bit longer than I have. So I knew that he would know what to look for and just like teach me what I should be looking for. So to my surprise, we came at around like 2:15, which is quite early, right? Like, we said 2:30. We came at 2:15 and there was already another couple there waiting to look. And when we came up to the place, we were like, oh my God, are you here to view this place too? And so then I was like, oh shoot, like, this landlord, it's not a one-on-one viewing. It's everyone's coming all at once. I think it was because demand was so high and he probably got so much outreach on Facebook and Craigslist that he had to do a viewing on Labor Day. So there ended up being 3 couples coming in at that time. One of the couples, I think, just came in and immediately thought it was too small, so they kind of left pretty early. And then there was another couple, a girl that was around my age, with her boyfriend, and then me with my boyfriend. And to be honest, going into the viewing, I was still like, oh, this is just to look. I really like just looking at units and touring and seeing what's there. I was not expecting to rent this place at all. But after I came in, it was in the middle of the day, so there was a lot of direct sunlight coming in through the windows. Obviously, this unit, you don't know this, so it's not obvious, but it is a brand new construction. They just finished construction on it recently, and no one's lived in it. All the amenities, all the dishwasher, stove, stuff like that is new. It's small, but not too small to feel like that I'm trapped in a little prison cell. And there was a patio. So when I first came into this, I was like, oh my God, wait, like, I think this is a contender. Obviously, I was worried that there was another couple there, a girl that was looking as well, but I wasn't going to be too attached, because from the first unit that I toured, I got kind of attached, and then I was really sad the next few days that I couldn't apply to it. So I was like, you know what? No expectations. I do like this unit, but we're not going to go in hoping for anything because I don't want to be upset. So then at the end of the viewing, we ended up talking to the landlord. I got an application sheet because I was like, why the heck not? And that was that. The landlord also told us that the next day there was going to be more people viewing it, and later that afternoon. So I was like, you know what? This is probably not going to work out, but I should just try because You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? That's the quote. So I literally applied, I think as soon as I got back home. I sent the application over and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm looking to move in anytime. I'm very flexible and I really like this unit. Then later that afternoon, the landlord called me and was like, you know what? Like, let's just give it to you because everyone else is looking for moving on October 1st. You're the only person moving flexible. And we just want to kind of end this like touring process as soon as possible. Because honestly, now that I've been through a few tours, it is very taxing on the landlords, I've noticed. So I'm sure that once they saw a like suitable candidate, then they just wanted to go with it because, you know, it's easier for them. It's a little less work. So it was very unexpected, as you can imagine, me moving out. I did not expect to be moving out. So it was Monday, Labor Day afternoon that I found out I was moving out and I was going to be getting the keys. I was originally supposed to be getting the keys like the next day, but I was like, no, I'm working. I can't. Let's do it on Friday. So I was like, crap, like I'm moving out on Friday. And I was like, oh shoot, I have to pack literally everything in my room and we have to do that ASAP Rocky. So that week was super chaotic. I was also working a ton. So every night I would come home and just pack like a little bit. But I ended up packing the bulk of it on Friday morning before I went to work. It was like 6:30 in the morning and I was just throwing everything into boxes and bags just to get ready to move. So yeah, moving day came along. Everything was packed very last minute and my boyfriend came to help me after work that day. I left work a little bit early to grab my keys and talk to the landlord. Yeah, then I moved everything in. It took about like 2 hours that day. And honestly, that's not very long. I thought it was going to take like 5 hours, but I actually don't have that much stuff. I guess now that I look at it, I do have a lot of stuff, but I didn't have a ton. Most of it was clothes, which was crazy. So after we moved everything in, we headed to IKEA just to grab like all the preliminary stuff that I would need. Unfortunately though, IKEA was so out of stock. It is still so out of stock, which is crazy. So I couldn't buy as much as I wanted, but I still ended up buying basic things like plates and a pot. I don't even know. So yeah, that whole weekend was super busy. The next day, my boyfriend and I headed to Muji to do some shopping because Muji's houseware stuff is actually super nice. I bought a couple plates and utensils and stuff like that from Muji. I ended up spending like $200. One thing I will say is moving is so expensive, especially for the first time, because I literally did not have anything, and I had to buy everything. So that was something. Like if you're looking to move out for the first time, make sure you have like savings because it will drain your bank account. Like I was doing my budget this couple days ago and I was like crying. So not obviously crying, but was a little bit shook by how much I spent. Spent a lot at Muji, and then the next day I also went grocery shopping and to Superstore to grab other basic items and also just like preliminary groceries and stuff that I would need. Obviously because I was buying a lot of things that would be used over the long term. Like for example, I bought, what did I even buy? I don't remember, but there are a lot of things that I had to buy and I still need to buy that I don't have that I would be using over the long term. One example is ketchup and mayo that I still do not have, but I do want to buy probably today. But yeah, then on the Sunday after I moved out, the Saturday I was super busy because I just had some personal things to do as well. So honestly, that day I didn't really do much in terms of like moving wise. But the Sunday I literally spent from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. that day running errands, cleaning, doing something productive because that was how much I needed to do. I had to wash my sheets, I had to steam mop, I had to vacuum, I had to wipe down literally everything. I deep cleaned the bathroom, the kitchen, every single part of this apartment, and it was crazy. So that was a huge day. Luckily, I don't have to do that again anytime soon. That was like, I'm going to split my chores up so that obviously I don't have to do everything all at one day because it was honestly very tiring and I had to do a lot. So that day was brutal. But then otherwise, I've been living alone for a week now. And I'm going to tell you about what living alone has been like for the very first time for me, and also some pros and cons because I love making pros and cons lists. So living alone so far has been amazing. It's like everything I could dream of and more. The main reasons I wanted to move out was so that I could have a place that I could go back to that would be quiet and that I could relax fully. Because yes, at home when I was living with my family, that is true, I could relax, but you are like, when I was living at home, I was easily influenced by other people's moods at home and having to deal with just other people all the time. It's not easy. So I was looking for a place to just chill, be at home, and not have to worry about anyone else. And I could just truly be by myself. I've realized that like over the past few years, alone time is super important for me. So I didn't really have a place where I could fully relax. So it was causing some distress in my life. So having this place has been super nice. I absolutely love my morning routine in this place because it's just so nice to not feel rushed and not like have to be influenced by other people. Like if my grandparents woke up early at home before, like they would start blaring the TV and all that like right when they wake up, and I'm still like in a very tumultuous mood, more like malleable mood. So it was not always the bestest time. And yeah, I have also really liked who I have developed into. Even just a week into living alone, I feel like I'm so much more responsible and just like not living in my own world anymore. I feel like living at home, I didn't have to do much. Obviously, meals were cooked for me, cleaning was done for me, and I really didn't have to do much at all. But now that I am living by myself, having this extra sense of responsibility is really good for me. I think it really keeps me on track. Yeah, I really like that. Otherwise, yeah, I thought I would be more lonely. Actually, one thing that I really like that I have done is that I don't have Wi-Fi in my place. I have not set up Wi-Fi yet, and I am actually not planning to set up Wi-Fi for a while. The reason is that my phone plan has an exorbitant amount of data that I never use throughout the entire month. And so I was like, maybe for the first month, I'll try using my data when I'm at home, and if I need Wi-Fi on my laptop, I'll just use a hotspot. And so far it's been fine. And honestly, I really like that because it makes me a lot more intentional with my internet usage, because obviously I'm like, oh shoot, like I can't be scrolling on TikTok forever because first of all, I have more important things to do, and also my data's not going to last forever. And I think one thing that's really made this good is that like I'm not playing YouTube videos all the time. When I was at home and it was quiet, I would just play YouTube videos and also watch them, but more so just fill in the background noise with these YouTube videos. But now that I'm living alone and it is a lot more quiet for sure, I don't do that because obviously I don't have unlimited data and I can't be watching YouTube videos all the time. So I'm a lot more intentional with my content consumption, and also I just enjoy the quiet a lot more. Like I don't feel weird that it's silent all the time. Like it's actually really nice. Also, it is like actually pretty noisy here because my neighbors have dogs and those dogs are always barking at times. I also live I share this space, or no, I share the property space with a family, and they're also like moving around and stuff. So obviously it's not like I'm completely isolated. Like I have neighbors and stuff like that. So it's not too lonely. Like there's always sound of people around. But yeah, that's one thing that I really like, is that I haven't been addicted to just like listening to sounds just for the sake of it. Like I just enjoy the quiet. So let's talk about some pros and cons of moving out. Okay, so I've kind of talked about this in my experience living alone so far, but my pros mainly is that mentally and personally it's a lot better for me in terms of my boundaries and my recharge time. It's obviously a lot more calm here because I'm the only one that lives here and I'm in charge of this space. So I feel a little bit more in control of my energy and how I feel, which is really, really nice because I don't know, it's really easy to get like pissed off and stuff if other people are around, not doing things the way that you want, or like maybe you're in a bad mood. But living alone, you're just with yourself and you can read the room and your own emotions and do what needs to be done for yourself. I think also just in terms of boundaries with people that I care about, like friends and family. I know I don't see them or talk to them as often, but honestly, it's a lot better for me because the time that we do spend together is a lot more meaningful, which is really, really nice. Some cons are that you're obviously responsible for absolutely everything. If I don't do the dishes, they're not going to magically be done. I have to do them myself. And obviously, if I don't clean, this place is only getting dirtier for me. So that's one con. I'm learning to manage it, but sometimes I don't want to vacuum and the floor is dirty, so I have to. Other thing is that it can obviously be a little bit scary living by yourself. I'll tell you a little story that freaked me out when I first moved out. It was the second night that I was sleeping alone here. And at night, I'm actually a pretty light sleeper, I would say. I don't know. It depends. But that night I was a light sleeper. I've been a pretty light sleeper since I've been here. Every time the dogs bark, I wake up. But I heard at night I was sleeping and then I heard, and I was waking up, the door handle like turning. And obviously it wasn't opening because the door was locked, but I could hear the door knob turning. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. First of all, I couldn't really process because I was like half asleep. But now that I think about it, like that was probably someone trying to get in. And the reason why I think it is absolutely that is because a couple minutes later, the door stops turning, the doorknob. And I was like, okay, it's fine. Like they didn't get in. Obviously the door is locked. They can't. Then a couple minutes later, it's quiet again. And then the dog next door starts popping off. It's like woof, 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 super loud. I'm like, what the frick? And then once the dog starts barking, I hear someone run down the stairs because the property next to me is a laneway house, if you don't know, which is basically someone's living on top of a detached garage on the property next to me. And their stairs are outside. My stairs are inside, which is lucky, which is good because I don't think I could handle having stairs outside. That'd be really scary. But as soon as the dog starts barking, I hear someone run down the stairs, which I was like, oh my God, wait, that's totally someone trying to get in. So that was a little bit scary. Luckily, I figured out how to double lock my doors so that the handle can't turn either and the door is locked. And yeah, there's actually a lot of people around all the time in terms of like people who live here. And so there's always like people talking and stuff. So it's really safe. This area is really nice. So I think it was just like a one-off. And it kind of just reminded me like, oh, I need to be careful because it can be a little bit scary at times. So that is my experience with that. That's obviously a con of living alone, especially as a woman, is you have to be really careful with just people around and your surroundings, which is fine because I'm a very paranoid person. So I've always been like this. I'm always super paranoid about everything like that. So yeah. Anyways, that's going to be it for this episode. I think I've moved out. I'm so excited for you to see the background slowly change. And if you keep up with my YouTube and my TikTok, then you've been watching what I've been up to and changing the apartment and stuff. As of right now, it's pretty like livable. I want to get a coffee table, but I'm still trying to look for a nice one that matches the bookshelf that I bought. So we'll see about that. It might be a while, but I've been loving living alone and it's been so much fun. Hope you enjoy. It's going to be such a fun journey living alone for a little bit. Not a little bit, a year, because obviously my lease is a year. And I'll see how it goes. But anyways, as of today, I hope you have a great day. You can check out the social medias linked down below for the podcast and my personal social medias if you want to keep up with me. But yeah, I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.
I was like, yo.